Hey, don't forget to like and subscribe because I keep finding really cool free stuff for voiceover. But ChannEV, this one's a total score, so check this out. So what we have here is a Neve-inspired channel strip, ChannEV, Neve, right? So it's Neve, and if you like puns, and hey, but who doesn't? So you got a 1272 style mic pre, right? And the 1272 is really the front end of a 1073 or a 1081. That's really the front preamp part of it. So you've got this, the Neve-inspired mic pre. There's something quirky about this. We'll go over this in a moment. But the rest of it, it doesn't affect how I use it. But the rest of it is really neat. So you got this de-esser, right? And the de-esser is really easy to use. It's one knob. She sells seashells by the seashore. 1, 2, 3, 4. She sells seashells by the seashore. She sells seashells by the seashore. Seashore. Seashore, 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 seashore. All right, so that works. And then you've got two controls here. So I believe that this is really a shelf around 10K. And then when you click on that, it's more of like bandwidth, direct bandwidth 10K, right? So you got this. So this feels a little bit more natural. Soft slows the attack. So it's a little bit of a softer onset of de-essing. So it's a little bit more natural. Release here. Usually, you don't want the slowest release. You don't want the fastest release. A nice slow, like kind of here, like a little mid. You can even just put it straight up to 12. That might be pretty good. And then a dry wet mix knob. And what I like about the dry wet mix knob is you can also, instead of just kind of trying to dial it in here, you can just dime this and then just kind of adjust the dry wet mix so that you get 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. 5, 6, 7, 8, 5, 6, 7, 8, 5, 6, 7, 8, 5, 6, 7, 8. So nice little touch on there. So either way, however you want to do it, you've got options. And then, so the de-esser works pretty well. And then this shows you, this meter here shows you the amount of de-essing reduction. So it's nice. It's always nice to have a visual indicator. And then we have an EQ here. An EQ, I mean, come on, I'm not going to explain an EQ to you. But the EQ works really well. So what we have here, right, are a number of different bands that we can manipulate. And again, it's like when you do this, right, you go from shelf to band specific. So you're basically, see, here's a high Q. So you are increasing the Q point, how narrow it is that you are cutting or adding. So we can add a nice little, here, why don't we do this? Why don't we add a little bit of 100, just a little touch. I love a little bit of extra 100, just a dB of 100, right? And we could do that, which is more, so it's more of a bell curve, right? So we're doing a bell here instead of a shelf. And then let's see, what else do we want to do? I think we have a little bit of an issue around 250. So let's go back here, about 252. To make that high, let's cut that just a touch, just a smidge right there, right? So I like that. But it doesn't feel complete yet because we need another lift. And I'm thinking it's about 4.5-ish. We need just a tiny touch there, right? And then I'm going to add just a little bit of air. So I'm going to set this up at 15. And this is a cut, so we don't want to do that, right? Very Pultec-y style cut. So and just a tiny bit of air right there. So this is what it sounds like with the EQ in, and this is what it sounds like with the EQ out. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I brightened it up and I've kind of strengthened the spot where I think it needed a little bit more. Right, a little here around 4.5K, make my voice pop out. I'll take out a little 250 for a little resonance fix. And then just a little tiny bump at 100 for authority. So I like that. That works out pretty well. Then you got a compressor here. And again, one knob compressor, and you just kind of, for voiceover, you just kind of want to kiss that thing. You don't want to really nail it like you would in music. So we've got that. We've got a ratio. And for voiceover, you'll keep your ratio low, 1.5 or 2. Release, right? We're going to keep our release like really fast. So we want to affect any sort of onset of transients that may happen at the beginning of your sentence that may end up with a spike on in your DAW, in your recording. So you don't want that. So we're going to keep our release fast. We don't need to add any gain. And then, again, you could do a dry wet mix if you wanted to. If you want to really do this up and you really want to add a lot, I mean, you can definitely adjust it, how severe it is with the dry wet mix. That's not bad right there. So we do that. Let's just dial this back. All right, so that works. That's working. And then limiter, which is always awesome when you're doing voiceover because you never know when you're going to overmodulate. So you just want to make sure that just, start yelling into it. What's the loudest you're going to be during your voiceover? And just make sure this thing just tickles a little bit just so that you don't overmodulate. All right, so here we go. I think this is too much compression, actually. Let's dial that back. So, all right, so here we go. Let's get that. All right. And then last but not least, well, not last but not least, but here, let's go to the tape sim. So this is going to add a little bit of a harmonic saturation. And right away, I mean, it's like it's 0, no harmonic saturation. And then once you just put it to like 1 dB, it feels like a lot. And then when you dime it out, it sounds like an effect. So, if you want to add just a little bit of that, and it adds a little thickness in the mids. So it helps that we did cut out that little bit of 250 there. It feels a little bit too much. So we're going to add just a tiny, tiny touch of it, right? That's nice and aggressive. And then your output knob if you need to adjust that, but we don't need to. So here's the quirky thing about this. I do like this a lot. I think it sounds really cool, and I love the fact that it's free and it has so many great features, and the de-esser works really well. So here's the thing. This doesn't work. This doesn't seem to do anything other than when I dime it out, right? You get all this weird saturation, but it's not really adding any gain at all. And the pad doesn't work, right? And this trim isn't doing anything either. However, these filters do. So your high cut and low cut, right? These are working, right? These are absolutely working. And then you have a little bit of you have a nice shelf, little boost here. Oh, did you hear that? The helicopter just went over. So, you can add that. If I want to add that 100 dB or cut it a little bit here. So you got these filters here. So that all works out pretty well. But overall, unless you're using this, I'm just going to keep that out. I don't really need that because I'm getting all the gain I need coming through my interface. Because this is running through vPlayer 4, right? So I'm running this off vPlayer 4, or you can run it through your DAW. So, I don't really need this. I don't feel like I need this. If anything, I may use the filters, but the rest of this is exactly what I need. So this is working out pretty well. ChannEV from Analog Obsession. And I gotta say, Analog Obsession, they just seem to have, some of the best free stuff out there. If you are like me and you love finding a good free plugin, man, Analog Obsession is really the place to just go check out every so often. They add new stuff. I think what they're actually doing is they had a whole bunch of stuff and they're kind of porting it now. They're updating it. So for more people to be able to use, because I think, weren't they all originally like for Reaper or something? I don't know. But anyway, and, make a donation or subscribe or, support them in whatever way you feel is right. But, they make them free for a reason. If they didn't expect you to download it for free, they wouldn't make it free. But, support them in whatever way you can. And even just tell your friends about it. That's always a good way to support something like this. But analogobsession.com, ChannEV, what do you think? Another great freebie. And this one, I think could really work for a lot of people. And who doesn't love free? All right, let me know what you're thinking. All right, leave a comment. Until next time, this is Mark Yoshimoto Nemkov, fading to black.